Not sure how much better you could ever get.
Is a Dodge Viper V10 an even fire or an odd fire?
I have just figured out a method. Check it out. Alrighty, so we're here today working on the Viper, world's most powerful Viper, maybe, we'll see, for Ben Black, and getting the hoops out. So this is the existing SMX fire hoop system that we had in there. And I'm gonna show you how to take the hoops out real quick. So these are a stainless steel one piece. This is not a piece of wire. You'll see when I take this out. And then we're gonna be welding up all the water ports because this is total dry deck. And I showed you the whole dry deck, super billet deck that we did. Why don't you go right here? And so the block's all done, and we're working on the hoop or the fire rings. So we're working on the fire rings, getting them all machined down, and everything has to be absolutely spot on, money perfect. This is a little more forgiving system, but the other way has to be absolutely perfect. And so we're working on that. But this is the next part of it, where I gotta get these hoops out, weld up these holes, weld up the receiver grooves, because this head has to be perfectly flat. So let's get at it. Now, as you can see, that is not a round piece of wire. That is flat on the bottom, radiused on the top, machined. Basically, it's a one-piece stainless steel ring. Radius on top, square on the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is, I did have these plugged before, and we had a screw-in plug, but Ben wanted me to weld this up solid, so there was nothing that could even possibly leak through the threads of the plug, right? But I need to, it's really hard to get stuff clean because it's all been together and running, and I need to put a chamfer here on that so it blends in and fills that hole, or can fill that hole. So I got to fill this entire hole up and do the same thing over here. These have 9/16 head studs. All right, decided I'm not talented enough, like my buddy Chris Razor, of just like perfectly filling in that big a hole. It is kind of a bugger. Yes, it can be done. You might be able to do it. That's cool. But, and I can do it. It just isn't as nice. And so I am going to make some plugs just like that. That'll kind of press in there, kind of beat them in just real nice and lightly. And I'll have a nice little area. I can weld it up. It'll be really good. Then I have to clean up and get these hoop receiver grooves for the hoop all welded up so we can come in here and resurface and make these perfectly flat. So let's go cut some rod. All right, so we got our plugs made. Those are in. I need to get my gloves on now. And we're gonna do some heavy welding. Now, when you can get right after it like that, there you go. You don't have to put a whole ton of heat in it. Just to give you illustration, so I just welded up everything right here. Just welded that one up. It's like, I don't know, it might be 100 degrees or so, and it can obviously hold my hand on it. So, not a big deal. Now you might have noticed too that I do have the plugs are slightly below surface, about 50 thousandths or so below surface with the chamfer. That way, when I weld this whole thing up and build a little material on it, it should machine off like really nice and flat and like just be one consistent material versus like having it like perfectly flat and just welding around the ring. And then it kind of can, sometimes you could actually weld or sometimes you could, if this was perfectly flat, a lot of times you could machine the weld actually off because there's not enough weld through it. I have just figured out a method. Check it out. How much better that looks.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Looks like what Chris Razor was doing, basically.
I'm like Chris Rays. Haven't made it to Razor yet. Just Chris Rays. Yes, I just figured out the method. So, yeah, that looks significantly better. It's really flat and low profile, not like it's all sitting on top, like normal.
So what did you do different? Was that the secret? You can't tell?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you, Nate. Mm-hmm. Just letting you know. It's actually on camera. If you can figure it out. So anyways, I'm gonna weld this head. It does put more heat in it, but it's not astronomical, you know, which is okay. So now I'm gonna weld up this one, and then we are going to be moving on.
Joe, why do you look like you're in so much pain?
Feet are hurting.
Your feet?
We're standing up working all day, walking all over the shop. It hurt.
Whoa! Are those Brunt boots?
Sure are. And boy, are they comfortable. These boots are for the working man. And look at them, they are stylish. Super comfortable. We're walking all over the shop all day long. And they're super durable. Been wearing them for weeks, beating on them. They look brand new still. Walking through the snow, outside, they still look brand new.
Oh, what a day to forget my shoes at home. Wish I had something nice and warm to put my feet in. Oh my goodness, this is way better. I can't believe I did not wear shoes today.
Man, my dogs are barking. Where can I get boots like those?
Easy. All you gotta do is go to bruntworkwear.com and use code SteveMorris10.
and that will get you $10 off your first pair.
I'm in.
All right, so you just saw that we cut this down in here on top of the sleeve, but not all the way on top of the sleeve. So it's left all our flange here, basically. So it's in no danger of pushing the sleeve out. Now, our ring right here that we have cut and then surface ground flat. All right, and it will go in just like that. Now, that is the same size. Actually, I think it's just a couple thousandths larger than what the bore size is. So it's like a little extension onto the bore. The gasket, we'll show you how that all goes on. Goes around the outside. And this is protruding, it does protrude 1/1000 and a half above the, actually 1/1000 and a half or two, actually it's 2,000, sorry. 2/1000 above the gasket, and the gasket is precise, the ring is precise, and everything is precise, so it is going to be sticking up above the gasket, so that ring is going to go like that above into the head. So with big 9/16 head studs in this thing, not sure how much better you could ever get. And since it's dry deck, there is no water up here anywhere, then we don't have to worry about any water. So I think that's all pretty darn good. So let's get the rest of these rings in here, and then we'll show you how the gasket all forms around it.
I wait by the river, I come
But yeah. So we have our compression rings, I think. Is that what they're called? Is that the formal name?
Sure.
So these rings, there's receiver grooves here in the top of the sleeve. Brock machined very precisely, and the rings fit absolutely perfectly right in place. The exact same bore size. And they stick up just a couple thousandths more than the thickness of the head gasket. So this is actually really precise.
Has to be, right? Or else it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Last thing you want is different heights between cylinders, because the cylinder head's one piece, so you can't have, they've all got to be the same height. It's all got to be like spot on, which it is, which is pretty cool. Now our custom head gasket from Hussey, copper annealed, and what's different about it is fact A, it's got provisions for 9/16 head studs, no water holes, we don't need them, got a dry deck now, and the bore size is the OD of our new compression rings. Look at that perfect fit around the rings. Got to get around the dowel here. You ever find yourself putting head nuts on an LS engine and it's a total pain in the butt to get the washer inside the head, under the rocker arms? Use the Phillips head screwdriver trick. Bang, and then you don't drop it in the oil pan.
So what do these heads get torqued up to?
Well, these are some fancy custom-made head studs from Point One. So I'm going to pull them to 165 pounds. They can probably handle more than that, but I just think for the engine, the block, the head, the compression rings, all that, I think 165 is enough. It's actually more than they were pulled to before. But
What were they at
Good.
before?
trying to remember, I want to say maybe 140 pounds or 145 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The stud is pretty strong. I think we would pull threads out of the block before breaking a stud at this point. So
Well, we don't want that.
we definitely don't want that. Whenever you use head studs, your washer always goes down dry against the boss on the head, because you don't want the washer to rotate while you're torquing up the nut. So another little trick I do is I'll take the washers over to the granite stone over there, and I'll lap them with some rough sandpaper just to put a little texture on the bottom side of the washer, just to kind of help it bite into the head. And then you lubricate the top side so the nut
Spins freely.
spins freely, the washer stays put. Now, ARP has a solution to this. They call it the cap paw washer, which I think we've talked about before, but it's got like a serrated like it's textured. It almost has like teeth on the bottom of it that actually bite into the head. But sanding the washer does work. I've done it several times, or tested it several times, where you'll have the nut pull up and it feels kind of springy or spongy, and you'll notice that the washer's actually rotating a little bit with the nut. And the second you get that washer to not turn and the nut just to spin on top of the washer, pulls right up, feels rock solid. We'll get this head torqued on and moving on to valve train.
Time for some valve train.
Yes, sir, you got it.
Anything special over here?
Same setup he's been running for a minute now. Nice D&D shaft mount deal. Morel solid roller lifters. You can't see them anymore because the heads are on, but they're in there. Tie bar style. Custom Steve Morris Manton push rods. 3/8. Yeah, nothing crazy. Nice stuff, just nothing crazy. The water to
And then you corrected decided how to make more than one.
Hans, whatever.
Things that we'll put in your DMs
Yeah.
when them following you.
We're lashing rocker arms in our Dodge Viper V10, and Nate brought up an interesting point as I was doing it. The crankshaft in a Viper V10, all the rod journals share a pair of connecting rods. Nate brought up the V6 engine over there. That's odd fire engine for that exact reason, because one pair of connecting rods share one rod pin on the crankshaft. The rod pin is not offset, therefore there aren't two pistons at top dead center at the same time every single revolution. So is a Dodge Viper V10 an even fire or an odd fire? Simply for the fact that the connecting rods share the same journal and the journal's not a split pin deal. This is technically a odd fire engine. If it fired evenly every 360 degrees, it would fire every 72 degrees. The mechanical limitation here, sharing two rods on one journal, it cannot fire every 72 degrees. It's not possible. So the way this fires is it will fire one cylinder every 54 degrees, and then the next one will fire 90 degrees after that. Then 54, then 90, 54, 90, 54, 90, until you get to 720 degrees. That's how it all works out. So that's why your Audi R8 V10 5-liter sounds nothing like a Dodge Viper. You notice the Dodge Viper has a much kind of a lower pitch, rumbly kind of a sound to it. That's the imbalance of the odd firing going on. Whereas something, for instance, like a Audi R8, a V10 Audi R8, has a very smooth, higher pitch sound to it. We're just going to kind of demonstrate this real quick. It can easily be seen just from lashing valves. So we set up a little pointer here. The engine's not at TDC. We just have the pointer pointing at TDC. It's somewhere close, but just for the sake of demonstration, we have the pointer set at TDC. I've already lashed all the intake rocker arms. We're now onto the exhaust rocker arms. Just did number 9 back here. Now the cylinder layout and numbering on this engine is just like a small big block Chevrolet, or actually any GM V8 or Mopar. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Next cylinder is going to be 4. So we're going to watch the intake rocker on cylinder 4, which is right here. Now this is going to be closing. This time we're going to turn it 54 degrees, and we should have the intake rocker arm almost closed, or intake valve rather. So if we're at TDC or 360 degrees right now, we're going to go to what? 304? Is that right, Nate?
306.
Or yeah, 306.
Almost closed.
306 there. And now we can lash our exhaust rocker there.
And so now number 3 should be 90 degrees away.
Right. 16. Intake's not closed, but it's almost closed. It's in the same position that 4 was 90 degrees ago. But yeah, that cycle will continue over and over and over and over again for as long as the engine's running, obviously. So I just thought it was interesting because obviously you can see it when you're turning the short block around because you can see the pistons coming up and down and you can see where they're all at. But it's proving itself out where I've said in the past, oh, if you want a lash valve, it's a quick, easy way to do it. Or if you want to remove or install rocker arms, a quick and easy way to do it is turning the engine 90 degrees. You know, start at TDC, number 1. You can install the intake and exhaust. Turn the engine 90 degrees, go to 8, and then through the firing order. You cannot do that with an engine like this for that exact reason.
Yeah, off camera, I thought it was funny how you said, it feels like I'm turning the engine over more.
Yeah,
like
so
every
I'm
other
I
time.
just cracked a little bit, and I'm like, oh, we're already there. And then you had mentioned that, and yeah. Okay, we are done with Ben Black's V10 Viper. Went through it, as you saw, refreshed everything. It was actually in really good shape. It didn't have a whole lot of time on it. Completely remachined the whole block with the super billet deck, all welded up. We have those slick compression rings, machined the cylinder sleeves for those, and the head gasket, everything. It just fit perfect, like just snapped into place. It's actually really satisfying. And it looks like it's going to work. I actually test fitted ahead, made sure it printed nice, so we got good sealing around the ring, around the chamber of the head. Welded up the head, so it's completely dry deck now. Obviously, the block and the head are both dry decked.
Now they still have water in it.
Now they do have water. So there's water in the block and there's also water in the head. There's just no water port between the head and the block. So in order to combat that, water comes from the head or from the block to the head through these fittings right here.
So you just have a crossover in the back on the outside instead of passing through the deck surface.
Right. Instead of having the water come through the block, through the head gasket, through the back of the head, out to the front, or vice versa, it's all sealed up. No water is in between the block or the head at all. Crosses over back here externally, like you just said. There we go. The head gasket really is there just as a spacer for those compression rings. It's not actually sealing anything anymore, obviously. So that's all good. Inspected everything, cleaned everything, put it all back together again. Looks like $1 million. And it's ready for you, Ben Black, for his absolutely killer Viper. I love that car. One last thing I think we should do to this engine is the oil fill cap says 0W40. What's that all about? It should say Smoil engine only.
Yeah.
Or yes, yeah, Smoil engine oil only.
Smoil only.
Smoil only. 2560. Thanks for watching. Remember, like, subscribe. Steve's on his way down to sick week right now, so it's just us. So remember, have a great day. Stay fast.
Perfect.